So lovely to chat to you. My first question is, I would just love to know about how you kind of first discovered your passion for music. Was there like a certain song that you heard or a certain artist that you heard that kind of ignited that love for music?
Yeah, well, I know my love for music came very, very young, from church actually. And I literally remember I was in a church play and I was the drummer boy, if you're familiar with that story. And I had to go all the way up and down the aisle with the drum by myself. And I was like, okay, this is dope being in front of everyone. So that's when I actually literally fell in love with performing. And singing wise, I want to say it was Usher, um, mixed with Janet Jackson.
Good
Those
choices, yeah.
really inspired me a lot to, well, not only sing, but be a performer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Are we talking like kind of Confessions era?
Yeah, or the My Way, that album was my stuff.
Yeah, no, it's good influences to have. Um, so you kind of mentioned your kind of background in the church and falling in love with music kind of through that before you kind of discovered these artists. At what age did it kind of become a goal for you to like, make this your career?
I want to say around the age of like 10,
Yeah.
10, 12 years old. Yeah. I think it
And
was
did
like,
you?
what is that? Like fourth grade? What is 10 years old? I don't even know.
Well, I don't know because I'm UK, so we're a totally different system.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So I'm guessing in kind of UK terms that would be like what we call like primary four, primary five. So it's pretty young.
Okay. That's cool. I did not know that.
Um, so 10 years old. So that's pretty impressive to kind of have that kind of clear idea at that point because a lot of kids don't know.
Mhm.
Um, and did you kind of feel like you had support in kind of pursuing that, or was that kind of uphill battle like with teachers and kind of family and stuff?
Yeah, at first, I mean, obviously, when you're that young and you're saying like, I want to be a singer, I want to be famous, whatever. Adults kind of think it's cute, and I think my parents thought it was cute at first until I actually started like constantly wanting to perform and go do a play or sing for like no freaking reason. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, he actually has something and he won't shut up about it, so
Yeah,
maybe he's serious about this. You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, they've been supportive for sure.
Yeah, and was it something you kind of felt that you just kind of did you just start yourself, or did you kind of study, or how did you kind of find yourself gaining your skills, I guess?
Yeah, I feel like I honestly just started. Like, I think before I even realized that I was capable of doing it, I was doing it, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, I get you.
Um, and then before I know it, I was just kind of like in it.
Yeah. And I think
So
that's the best way to kind of learn is to just kind of do things, isn't it? And just to kind of find your way. Um,
sure, you gotta go for it at some point.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, so thinking back to 2017 was your kind of debut EP, I think, Attention.
Mhm.
And what was that feeling like putting your music out there for the first time to kind of, be met with an audience and to kind of be judged? And was that quite a kind of vulnerable sensation?
Yeah, it was. It's funny though, I wasn't as nervous for that as I was for Feed the Fire. Um, because Attention, that was my first original music I put out, and I think I was just excited to put out original music. Like it wasn't like a cover or like anything that was like this is literally like who I am as an artist. So I was excited, and then the follow up was nerve wracking.
Yeah.
But yeah, the EP, I don't know, I was like, yeah, here you go. Like I really
Yeah.
wasn't worried about
I guess maybe it's quite an exciting feeling as well, kind of putting it out there. Your kind of first marker of this is me. I'm kind of
it.
introducing myself to the world.
Yeah.
Um, so you mentioned your mixtape "Feed the Fire," and that's kind of come 4 years after that debut EP. Do you feel in these years between the release of your first music and now that you've kind of progressed as an artist, or have you changed in any particular way?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like I've really honed my sound and I really know what kind of music I want to put out there. And what I hope to make people feel, and I hope that they get from me. So yeah, just a lot more confident and a lot more. I just have more of a direction and like a knowing of what I want to put out there.
Yeah. And I think there's definitely that sense with Feed the Fire. Like, it doesn't feel like a debut mixtape. It does feel like an artist who's been working for, 10, 50, 20 years, like homing in on their craft and really kind of perfecting it. And it dips into so many different genres as well. It's a hard one to classify. I mean, I guess technically maybe say it's a pop album, but there's definitely elements of like soul and R&B and ballads, kind of real sort of mix. Was that a conscious choice not to be stuck in one genre?
Yeah, that's cool that you noticed that. This album was inspired by a lot of different genres and people, and I don't know, I just feel like I had a lot to express, so I didn't really want to put it in a box,
Yeah.
Because I wanted people to dance, I wanted people to hear me like sing. I wanted people to, maybe cry. So yeah, I'd say it was intentional for sure.
Have you so obviously you draw on your own personal experiences when you're writing these songs. Have you ever had anyone say like, is this song about me, or who's that song about?
You know what?
Ever have that?
I've literally had someone ask me that, who like, not in a million years would it be about them. And I was like, no, like why I don't understand why you really even think that. But,
that's pretty awkward. So you wrote a song about me and you're like, no.
Yeah, right. It wasn't super awkward because I guess we're kind of good friends, but like it's just like, nah, like,
yeah,
times I don't even know, the songs just come out of like the sky, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I guess it's like a build-up of all the emotions you experience on like a day-to-day basis, and then it kind of, I guess, all comes out in the songs. Is there a kind of particular track that stands out to you, like as a kind of sort of personal favorite, or one that you kind of look back on and feel really proud of?
Yeah, Undone, I love that song. And Love Thy Will Be Done.
Yeah.
So if I had to erase all of them and only keep two, I would pick those two.
Yeah, it is interesting because I guess it's like, favorite children and stuff. A lot of people would be reluctant to say, but you must kind of have a few that kind of mean more slightly than the rest. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I also really love the fact that you used interludes, and it's interesting that you mentioned like Janet Jackson and Usher, because obviously they use quite a lot.
Yeah.
What was your thinking behind putting the interludes in?
Literally that. Yeah, I wanted to bring interludes back. I love interludes. I don't know about you, but like I always thought they were really cool on albums growing up. Because they did kind of die away, I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a great way to link an album. I mean, even though it's a mixtape, it's an important part of linking the story together,
I think as well, because of, we predominantly listen on Spotify, Apple Music, streaming services, we're so inclined to hit shuffle. And as much as that, serves a purpose, it does take away somewhat from the kind of start to finish album experience. And I think interludes are such a kind of magical part of that when they're back in, it's, it's nice to have that start to finish experience with these little kind of bites in between. So yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I hope to bring that back.
Yeah. And well, obviously now you're going to press the re-released mixtape on vinyl, which is super cool. What was the thinking behind the red vinyl? Like, because it's such a kind of bold color choice.
You said behind the what? The red vinyl?
Like the red wax vinyl.
Okay, yeah. I wanted it to be bold. I wanted it to be. It's obviously the same, but with new stuff. So I wanted it to pop and just catch your attention. Like, okay, I know that that's Feed the Fire, but like, it's the deluxe. I don't know, like
it's cool, and it fits with the cover art with the kind of red text and the black and white image. It really does pop. I'm excited that you're pressing it on vinyl. It's nice to see that that's kind of brought like the whole album experience back. we're cool to be part of that. Going back to the cover art, that's really quite striking, as we mentioned. Have you thought about any more visuals for the project, maybe like music videos or kind of other things like that?
Yeah, the newest single off the re-release, Infatuation, which drops on Friday, which is crazy. We have a video ready for that. We're getting ready for that, and I'm so excited. That's gonna be my first real visual that I've put out. So I'm excited for people to see like me in a visual performance.
And can you tell me anything about the kind of theme behind the music video?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you tell me anything about the theme behind the music video? So
Yeah, the
what are you
theme,
going
yeah.
for?
Hell yeah. It was shot in Colorado, 4 hours outside of Denver at in these sand dunes. So it's pretty much the desert and mountains. I don't know have you ever been to the United States at all?
Yeah, I've been to Utah and Florida, New York. Utah's a strange one. That was for a film festival. But I guess Utah not too far from Colorado, is it? Or maybe
Yeah.
it's totally the other end.
No, they're pretty close.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Utah though. Is there like mountains there and stuff?
Yeah, it was a big sort of skier scene when I was there.
Yeah, I should obviously know that I'm freaking from here, but
Big
yeah,
country.
no. Yeah, very, very scenic. It's a really cool shot video.
And like, how did that? I know obviously you've done a lot of acting as well. So it's quite a nice idea to kind of home in the music and the acting. So it must be quite a kind of special experience to be able to do that as a kind of multi-talented performer.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
going back to Infatuation, which you mentioned is out on Friday. It's a real kind of smooth, romantic pop hit. What kind of inspired that?
yeah, man. So that melody, the chorus, I'm so infatuated. That literally came out of me from nowhere. And I was at the time infatuated, I guess. But it's a pretty straightforward song. And it's just about yearning and desiring the presence of someone, whoever it is that you're infatuated with. So yeah, the melody just came to me, and I just kind of literally just exactly what I was feeling towards that person. I just wrote it,
Yeah, I'm excited for people to hear that, and I'm really lucky that I've heard the 5 new tracks, and 2 that really stood out for me. The first was Undone, Summer of '87, and I also loved Don't Want to Feel Don't Want to Feel a Thing, which are coming out in the next few weeks. I love dance music, and they were kind of big up-tempo dance pop anthems. How does the experience of making an up-tempo track differ from maybe making a more kind of slow ballad type track? Is it a different kind of energy in the studio?
Yeah, for sure. I think upbeat is more, I want to make people not only dance, but like it's like they have to dance when they hear it, you know what I'm saying? Whereas, slow mid-tempo is definitely more emotional in a way.
Yeah. It's good to have a mix. Absolutely. So I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to ask if you had to choose 3 albums, your kind of desert island discs in a sense, these are the ones that you could only listen to.
Okay.
Which albums would you choose? Top 3?
Oh God.
That's a horrible question.
I like that question.
Okay, good.
3, right?
Yeah.
I would say Mint Condition, Welcome to the Mint Factory. Gotta have a Janet album. Which one? Now that's a tough question.
Control, surely Control.
Control or the Velvet Rope. We'll say the Velvet Rope. And probably maybe a 112 album, if you're familiar with them.
No, I'm not actually.
What? Check out 112. They're dope.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That seems like a decent mix. I also had heard on Grapevine that you are a massive horror fan. And obviously on the website we cover a lot of cinema as well. What would you kind of pick as your top horror choices?
Uh, Nightmare on Elm Street was a big one that I loved. The original one.
Oh yeah, I just ditched the remake entirely.
Yeah. The Evil Dead remake, however, that was a really
Yeah,
good remake.
that
Have you
was
seen that?
nasty. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was nasty. And I actually just saw Candyman a couple of days ago, and that was really good.
Yeah, I saw it a couple of nights ago, and it was not what I expected at all. Um,
Yeah.
quite deep actually, quite a lot of like food for thought.
Mhm. It was
Yeah,
good though. It was a cool, good story, I thought.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thinking of kind of cinema and film, obviously you made your film debut alongside Steve Martin, which
hmm
incredible. Have you got any other kind of film plans or kind of television plans coming up?
Yeah, I would love to do more film. Um, Hopefully that's something that I could get going next year.
Yeah.
Next year, next 2 years, I would love to start doing some acting again for sure. Yeah.
And are you also kind of thinking more music 2022, maybe like a debut album?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's in the works already for sure.
Exciting. So have you recorded a few tracks already?
I have a couple ready, yeah. It has a ways to go, but I have a lot written and a lot I have to pick from. So it's gonna be good.
Have a title in mind yet, or is it too early to think of that?
Say that again?
Do you have a title in mind?
I have a couple, but nothing set in stone yet. It's kind of like changing back and forth between a couple, so
And I
we'll see
guess
what change
you
depending
might
on
record that track that kind of changes it all, and you might think, okay, this is the title track.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Well, I am really excited to hear the kind of future music, and I really love the 5 new tracks that you've added onto Feed the Fire, and it really stands so kind of well as a mixtape or album, you know, whatever you want to call it. It really is such an impressive introduction to you as an artist. So I know people will love these new tracks.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for taking the time. Um, been really interesting to hear your story and find out a wee bit more about the music and all the exciting things you've got going on.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for having me.